Could elephants survive on Mars with no gravity? Elephants are some of the most remarkable creatures on Earth, but how would they fare on an alien world? Mars presents one of the harshest environments imaginable, with extreme cold, a thin atmosphere, and relentless radiation. But what if we removed gravity from the equation entirely? Could an elephant function in microgravity, or would it struggle with the lack of weight? Elephants have evolved to support their massive frames on land with strong pillar-like legs. These legs help them carry their enormous weight, but in zero gravity, they would become useless. Would an elephant even be able to move without gravity to anchor it? Without the need to support their own weight, elephants might experience muscle atrophy over time. Their bones, designed for a high-gravity environment, would begin to weaken in the absence of stress. Astronauts who spend long periods in space experience significant bone density loss. For an elephant, this effect would be even more extreme due to its massive size. But without gravity, an elephant's weight would no longer be a burden. A baby elephant that normally weighs several hundred pounds would be weightless. Would a floating elephant be able to propel itself in a microgravity habitat? Space agencies have studied how different animals move in weightlessness. Cats twist their bodies to reorient themselves, while fish struggle to swim without water currents. An elephant, however, has never had to adapt to such an environment. With no experience in microgravity, would it even understand how to move? Elephants use their trunks as a versatile tool, capable of grasping, lifting, and even communicating. In space, their trunks might become their primary method of locomotion. Could an elephant learn to push itself through a zero-gravity chamber using its trunk? Would it instinctively reach out for walls, or would it drift helplessly? An elephant's thick skin protects it from sunburn and minor injuries on Earth. But on Mars, the lack of a protective atmosphere would expose it to harsh radiation. Could an elephant's skin withstand the intense cosmic rays bombarding the planet? Elephants rely on the sun to regulate their body temperature, but Mars receives far less sunlight than Earth. Would the cold Martian climate make survival impossible? Elephants need large amounts of water to stay hydrated and maintain their body functions. Mars is a desert world with only traces of frozen water hidden beneath the surface. How would an elephant get enough water to survive on a planet with no rivers or lakes? On Earth, elephants eat hundreds of pounds of vegetation each day. Mars lacks plants, meaning elephants would need an artificial food supply. Could an elephant survive on processed food in a controlled environment? Elephants are social creatures, forming deep bonds with their families. Would an elephant become lonely in an artificial habitat on Mars? Elephants use infrasound to communicate over long distances. Would their calls travel the same way in Mars's thin atmosphere? Sound waves behave differently in different atmospheric conditions. Would an elephant's roar be muffled or distorted in the Martian air? Mars has lower atmospheric pressure than Earth, making it harder for sound to travel. Would elephants be able to hear each other at all? The lack of gravity could also impact digestion. Elephants rely on gut bacteria to break down plant material. In microgravity, astronauts experience digestive changes due to fluid shifts. Would an elephant's digestive system still function properly without gravity? Mars's dust storms can last for weeks, covering the surface in fine red dust. Would an elephant's lungs be able to handle breathing in Mars's dusty air? Elephants have highly sensitive skin, particularly around their ears and trunks. Would the constant exposure to Martian dust cause irritation or infections? Elephants are intelligent, problem-solving animals. Would they be able to adapt to a completely alien environment? On Earth, elephants use their tusks to dig for water and food. On Mars, there would be no vegetation to dig for. Would they stop using their tusks altogether? Would the lack of gravity change the way their tusks grow over time? Scientists have observed animals developing unexpected mutations in space. Could an elephant born on Mars develop biological changes to adapt to its new world? Would its body shrink over generations, since it no longer needs to support such a massive frame? Some animals have been sent to space to study how they adapt to weightlessness. Would a small mammal like a mouse be a better candidate for testing before considering larger animals? If elephants were ever to live on Mars, they would require specially designed habitats. Would domed enclosures with simulated gravity be necessary for their survival? Artificial gravity could be generated using rotating habitats. Would an elephant be able to walk normally in a simulated gravity environment? Space technology is advancing rapidly, but we are still far from being able to transport elephants to another planet. The logistics of moving a multi-ton animal through space would be a massive challenge. Even if an elephant could survive the trip, would it be ethical to place it in such an alien environment? Would it be kinder to leave Earth's animals where they evolved, rather than forcing them to adapt to Mars? Human colonies on Mars may one day require animals for companionship or agriculture. Could we genetically modify animals to survive in the Martian environment? Would elephants play any role in a future Mars colony, or are they simply too large for space travel? Would a future where elephants exist on multiple planets mean they have conquered space travel alongside humans? If we ever discover a way to make Mars truly habitable, could we one day see herds of elephants roaming under a Martian sky? The question of elephants on Mars may seem far-fetched, but it raises fundamental questions about life beyond Earth. As space colonization becomes a reality, we must consider how Earth's creatures fit into the picture. Whether or not elephants ever set foot on Mars, their incredible adaptations continue to inspire scientific curiosity. For now, the elephants of Earth remain firmly grounded, but the future of space exploration is full of possibilities.